Hello and welcome back to the Transform You podcast. I'm Nelia.
And I'm Paula, and today we are going to be talking about negative thoughts and how to stop overthinking. Something that we have been asked so many times.
Yeah.
Probably the most common thing that comes up, like, help, how do I get out of this negative mindset?
I've been asked in person as well by a few people.
But what you'll learn in this episode is we all get it.
Oh.
And we've recently actually been in a wee bit of
We've been in a bit of a funk.
Stuck in a bit of a rut.
And we've had to dig ourselves out.
Yeah. I mean, but it is January.
Yeah.
Well, it's February. Jesus Christ.
It's mid-February.
This is why the yogis celebrate their new year in March.
I know.
Who wants to start a new year in January, February?
No.
Wait till March. When there's like bunnies being born and the sun is shining.
You can already see the wee bunnies in the countryside at the minute.
Really?
Yeah, there's a few.
Oh, love
There's
it.
already a few.
Oh,
So
there we
cute.
go. Brighter days are coming.
Brighter days are coming.
So there you go. Oh, there's a wee lovely, a lovely wee positive affirmation for you to start. Brighter days are coming.
Love it.
We've got over like the whole winter solstice. We're coming back in to sunnier days.
Yeah. Actually, one of my students says that Valentine's Day is her favorite day of the year, not because it's the day of love, but because from Valentine's Day onwards, that's when the days get lighter.
Lovely.
Yeah,
That's
so-
really nice. Yeah.
And I've been noticing it in my morning
Yep.
classes. I'm like, whoo,
And that starts to kind of
it is
brighten your mood.
brighter.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
nice.
So yeah, hopefully that's a wee bit of inspiration just to start with. And let's just get into it. Okay,
Let's.
so negative thoughts are something that we all have because we are programmed to a negativity bias.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Yep.
We humans are programmed for obviously reasons for ancestor days, you know,
Yeah.
like nothing that serves us anymore because we've not got lions chasing us down the street. Whereas they obviously did. So their brain is like, okay, I need to be looking for danger all the time.
All the time. Can he get killed?
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's now brought into our life. Like we've moved too quickly for our brains to actually catch up.
Yeah.
And obviously, you'll know this in everyday life. People just focus on the negatives.
And we feed off each other.
Yes. And it is like negativity breeds negativity as well. And we are just surrounded by it. And unfortunately, our brain is more susceptible to it. So it's actually more difficult to find positives.
Yeah.
It's like you actually need to put an effort, unfortunately.
Yeah, you actually do. And I think that's what we were really struggling with a couple weeks ago when we were in that rut.
Yeah.
Because, and we were almost feeding off each other too.
No, we were. At the time, we didn't realise.
Yeah.
But we
And
definitely
we really
were.
had to make an effort to
Like-
get ourselves out of it.
My whole prefrontal cortex was like taken over by the old limbic system, which is obviously just that irrational mind. My poor like organisational brain was gone. So
And then I was feeding off of that.
it was,
Oh,
yeah,
versus it was bad.
it was. And we're coming out the other end, so it's fine.
Aye.
But just know that once you learn all this stuff, it's amazing because you become so hyper aware and you know what to do to change it.
Yeah.
So what did we have to do to get out of that negative mindset? Not just this time, right? Because this time it was more like dramatic. It wasn't the way it was in the past, right? When you really are stuck in like a negative mindset, stuck in a rut, you need to become aware. First step is become aware of your thoughts. Become aware of the patterns, become aware of what's popping up for you every day.
Which can be really hard, actually.
Yeah.
I think it can be quite hard because you have to be very self-aware.
Yep.
You know, really check in with yourself.
And being non-judgmental, which is hard because if you're already feeling like shit because you've got negative thoughts making you feel like shit,
You're going to want to judge yourself for
of
it.
course, and you actually do judge yourself for it. God, I remember like, you know, that way you'd be like in that really negative mindset thinking my life's shite, nothing's going right. You'd start picking that's when you start picking your body
Why
apart.
do I feel this way?
Yeah.
I
And even
shouldn't
if
feel
you
like
do
this.
something so silly, like something insignificant, like spill a cup of tea, you're calling yourself, you're an idiot, you are so stupid, look what you've done, like so horrible. But yeah,
when in reality you've just spilled a cup of tea.
Yeah, it's fine.
What's the big deal?
Takes 2 seconds, just clean it up. But because your limbic system has hijacked your brain, where it is just that, you know, fight or flight, and it's like just negative, 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 that's immediately where that goes. But then that can, it's like you hear this, like the whole snowball spiral, like if it's like the stubbed toe effect. Have you heard of that? So if you stub your toe first thing in the morning, it's that then you burn your, it's the burnt toast theory. Yeah. So it's like you stub your toe, you burn your toast, you then you start to think of everything that's went wrong. Instead of maybe in that same morning, you actually got a nice compliment from the wee guy in the shop, or maybe your mum sent you a lovely wee text. You'll just ignore that because you've burnt your toast and stubbed your toe.
But also with the burnt toast theory, it's you can maybe change your perspective on it, that you burn your toast for a reason.
Yeah.
It means that you were 10 minutes leaving the house.
Yeah.
That means you might have missed a car accident.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Like,
you were late to work for a reason.
Yep.
It's like a knock-on effect. You have to change your mindset.
Yeah.
Instead of going, for fuck's sake, I fucking burnt my toast.
Like, that's me.
I've got to do it again. I'm gonna be late. It's no, that's the universe telling you that you needed to do that.
There you go.
There's a knock-on effect. It's for a reason.
And it does take a while to get to that point.
Yeah.
And that to get to that point, that's where it is. It's, you need to become aware what is popping up for you every day. So in the past, I don't mind sharing this, for me every day, things popping up would be, I'm not good enough, or I'm never going to know what I'm going to do with my life, or look at the state of my body. Like, you know, all those, like, I think they're like the classics, aren't they? Like, but it takes
they're very common with women as well.
Yeah. And usually that's because that's passed on to us from other people, though. It's passed on, like, from our mum's generations, the granny's generations, and the media, the news, social media, comments from people in your life. And yeah, so every day that used to be, so I started to be like, okay, how do I become aware of this? And again, journaling, right? But not even in that traditional sense, like writing down. So you do these exercises when you go to therapy. You'll write down what's coming up for me every day, like what's going on here. And then you see when you put that out there, or you tell someone, so you actually say the words like to a friend or a therapist or whoever, it makes you like, cringe, and you're like, why am I saying that? Like when you say those horrible words out loud, you're like pure dry up. You're like, oh no, that, like I wouldn't speak like that. So why is that going on in my brain?
Reframing it to, how would you say that? Would you say that to your best pal?
Never. I think
would you say that to your sister? Would you say that to your child? That's
why it made me feel so uncomfortable, because I would never have said any of the words to anyone. But that was going on in my head.
But you would say that, because I would say that to myself every single morning. That would be the first words I would think to myself in the morning, be the last words I would think to myself and then at night.
Yeah.
And that was just all the time. And it would be constant. Every time I looked in the mirror, I was thinking these negative thoughts.
Yeah.
But when you reframe it and it's like, what would you say to your best pal? I would never would have thought those thoughts to, do you know what I mean? And it's like,
why?
That's a big wake up call.
Yeah. And that is, so that's that whole becoming aware of your thoughts, becoming aware of the patterns, becoming aware of the habits. So the habits that would have been coming up for me would be, first thing in the morning, I would stand and stare at myself in the mirror, like picking my body apart. I'd stand in the scales. If it wasn't a number that I didn't like, I would then be like, I'm this, I'm that. So then you'd look at yourself and be like, oh, my skin, like look at my pores and look at this and look at that. Just because of, obviously, you see these flawless fake complexions on social media. And then it would be like, for example, if I then burnt my toast or spilled a cup, I would call myself an idiot. If I, like, I don't know, I would then just start thinking about the past. So that's, I was constantly caught in the past. I would be thinking about, why did I leave that course? Why did I not take that job? What am I doing? What have I done? Blah, 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 blah. Constantly stuck in the past. And usually, if you're in the past or in the future, we've said this before, it's usually negative, because it's either like anxiety or stress. You know, that anticipation.
If you're not
of what's
living
to
in the
come.
present.
Yeah.
it's
And
9
I
times
really
out
got
of
into
10
mindfulness
negative.
because of this. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So definitely that's the first thing that you need to do, which is a lot of work. It sounds easy, but it is. And then once you've done that, we need to learn how we can start to challenge those thoughts. Okay. So point number 2, challenge the thoughts. And that's you obviously confronting them and then coming up with something, like changing the perspective, coming up with something else. Or I don't know if you ever listened to Mo Gaudat.
Yeah.
He gives his negative
Love
thought a
him.
name. So his negative thoughts are called Becky. He basically talks about, if you don't know anything about Mo Gaudat, his son died during an operation, really young. And obviously that's horrible for him, traumatic, because he was the one that took him to that hospital, took him to that surgeon. So then he obviously had these negative thoughts like
guilt and
oh, horrible. Like, why did you take him there? You should have took
him
him somewhere else. And he then says that he gave these thoughts the name Becky, and then he learned to challenge them, be like, it's not me. Right, okay, Becky, what is it you've got to say? Like that kind of way, like actually having a conversation in his head with this voice that was coming in.
And that, I think, then puts the ownership on a thing, like a person, rather
You're like,
than,
this isn't me.
rather than yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good way of doing it.
Yeah. Another way that you can do that is just questioning it. So, for example, for me in the past, if it came up like fat and ugly, is this true? Is there evidence of that?
Why are you feeling like that?
Yeah, like, can you actually give cold, hard facts that this is true? No, you can't, because you can then say, well, there's evidence that I'm not, because, you know, people will compliment me. People have told me that I'm not. Like, even if it's not other people, like yourself, like, how are you? Who told you that? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
You know, it's starting to do a wee bit of that as well.
And for me, like, so with body image, that was always like ex-partners or other people putting that on
Someone
me.
else's words. Aye.
Yeah. So when I was challenging those thoughts, it was, I've never put that opinion on myself. It's been someone else that has given me those negative thoughts, and I've just started to believe them.
Yep. I actually had,
when I started challenging it, really deeply challenging it, I slowly had to start unpicking, hold on, who actually put those thoughts in my brain?
Yeah.
You know?
And you can sometimes hear someone else's voice.
Yeah.
When you really stop and think about it, you can. And it's horrible. Because you're like, wait a minute, it's a guy's voice.
And it was like them coming back into my head, and it was like, wait a minute.
Yep.
Let's challenge these.
Like, who is that?
I fucking hate them.
Yeah.
I don't like them. And
so why have
I know
I taken that
wrong.
on?
I know that they were wrong about everything that they said about me. Let's start challenging them.
Yeah.
Because before I met them, I loved myself, loved my body. And yet I'm believing them. And now they're out of my life, I'm still believing them.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
But like, and obviously therapy is a privilege that not everyone can afford, or it takes long to get to do. But this is where therapy is amazing if you are really, really struggling, because, you know, they know how to ask the right questions. You really, really open up. It's a safe space. And that can happen. Like, you can actually be taken back to this point where you're like, hold on, like, as a child, I wasn't like that. This is someone else who I've taken their beliefs and their life, and it's like if your values don't align with them, so you're just obviously absorbing all this, but you don't actually really believe any of it, which is really why it's like so upsetting in your mind. You're just kind of like, what's going on here?
It really can be quite traumatizing and upsetting when you
realize. And
I think that's when you have to just give yourself grace and give yourself compassion.
That's when the self-love comes in.
Yeah, because for me, I know when I started realizing and really reflecting on it, I started judging myself, you know, and being really hard on myself for it. But you have to just, it is self-love. Yeah. Because it wasn't me that put those thoughts in my head. And it is just giving yourself that compassion.
Yeah. And even if you get to, if you're at that stage, you know, where you're trying to challenge this is, you know, this is a lot of work to get into this point. If, you know, you're not ready to go that deep into it, that you can just look at it from surface level.
Yeah.
And be like, right, okay, challenge it. Is this true? Give it a wee thought. Give the thought a wee name. So you're like, right, oh, there it is again. Like, shut up. Like, actually just have the conversations.
Yeah.
I do it. See, when it pops up in my head, I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, actually.
Gonna
just
shut
like,
up. Yeah.
and I would speak to some people like that. So that's fine. Like, do you know that way? Like, if you don't want to listen to something, we were just talking about this. Like, if we're out and people start bitching or gossiping, like, we can quite happily get up and leave because I'm not getting involved in that.
No.
And I now do the same in my own head. So say that pops up, like, Paula, you're an absolute, you're stupid, right? I'll just be like, shut up, I'm not listening to that. And that's it. Like, we move on.
I mean, I've
that
literally
voice.
said it when I've been talking to you, and I'll say something and I'll apologize for myself, or I'll say I'm stupid. And I'm like, actually, no. Why am I
saying that?
No, shut up.
But that's it's like no, it's not me that's saying it. It's that voice.
Like mid conversation, I'm like, actually, no, I'm not sorry. Like, why am I apologizing for nothing? No, hold on. Do you know what I mean? And it can be really surface level like that.
Yeah, of course. But it's not that deep. You're just like, shut up. Aye.
Yeah,
and that's fine. And, you know, people will be like, oh, you're crazy talking to yourself, right? But all day we spend all day in our own head talking to ourselves, unless we learn to quieten that wee voice.
I think it's really healthy to.
Yeah, it is. Because you can suddenly like rationalise things. Like what I really, something that stood out for me is when I learned that your thoughts are habit. So what's the figure? I should have this statistic, but I don't. It's something like crazy, like 90-something% of your thoughts are the exact same as they were the day before, and the day before, and the day before. So you're just like, when I read that, I was like, what? That's scary. So if you are, you know, stuck in this pattern, it's most likely a habit that's been going on for years and years and years.
That's great.
So,
oh my gosh,
if that's not a good way to be like, I'm changing this, then, and see if you're going through something. That does happen. So if anybody's been heartbroken, you'll know you literally have the same thoughts that whole time you're getting over that heartbreak. It's just running wild. You can't think about anything else. You literally cannot think about anything else.
Like a hamster in a hamster wheel.
Oh my God, it's
like, you
horrible.
can't get off.
Yeah.
And
like, then please. I realised that. I was like, this is just rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
And then I had to be like, no, that, like, stop thinking about it. There's more to life. There's everything else going on. Look at this. And again, that's that. Like, so this moves on to step number 3. Change your perspective. Rephrase the thoughts that are going on in your head. So if you're heartbroken, for example, a good thing could be like, okay, what else? What good is going on in my life right now? What opportunities am I going to take from this experience? What lessons could I learn? And that's just that wee quick thing on the spot when, you know, it's popping up like, oh, this and that about whatever, however bad you're feeling, change it, like rephrase it.
Yeah.
Look for the opportunity.
Love that.
Again, easier said than done.
Yeah. Mate, totally fucking
Sitting
know
here
it.
like that. It's easy peasy.
Just do it. Here are the steps and just do it. You'll be fine.
Aye, like, that's you sorted.
It's fucking hard. It's like, we're not just, I know we always say these things quite lighthearted, but we are very aware that it's a journey and it's really hard.
And do you know what? There's no time frame on it. So don't put a time frame on like whatever your negative thinking is about or your overthinking about. Heartbreak is obviously a big one. Maybe your body image. It could be a stressful time in your life. Like anything that's sort of traumatic, I suppose. Yeah. That's what's going to be there, obviously, because your brain's trying to protect you.
And it's always an ongoing project.
Yeah.
You know, like
there'll be ups and downs.
Listen, like 2 weeks ago, we were in the rut came back.
Yeah.
And
it took us a while to kind of
things just
things
come and go, and it's always a continuing project in your mind. And like you said at the beginning, we live in a world which is constantly going to try and bring you down and have think of it, you put on the news and it's never positive.
Never.
You switch on the TV, there's never anything positive.
Yeah.
You go on your phone, never anything positive. So
Yeah.
we're surrounded by negativity. It's really hard to sort of break that cycle when you're in it.
But like you just said
It's
there
the
about
cycle.
the news is negative. You know, listening to people's conversations are negative, but that's all deliberate. So the news channels obviously know people are so susceptible and more like our brains will tune in more to negativity than positivity. So obviously for them to get ratings, what's the worst story we can find? What's the most tragic thing?
It's the same as social media. Like
Yeah.
people know
It's like a
that
hook.
people know that on TikTok, on Instagram,
Yep.
the things that go viral are gossip,
Yeah.
are drama, are beefs. Do you know what?
Yeah.
So they're like, why? Well, I'll do that because it'll make me go viral.
You see all these videos
And
popping
how
up.
toxic is that?
It is. So the
So
people
they
say
do
the
it.
best hook that you can get, this is like pops up on TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. I don't know if you've noticed this, but it's always like start with a negative. So stop doing this, don't do this. And it's just like,
it always comes. Yeah.
oh my God.
The people that are like Instagram coaches and stuff.
Yeah, that's what
And
they
that's
try and
always
teach
comes
you.
up.
Yeah.
Yuck. Not going
But
into
it's
that.
so like everything's there to obviously be against what we are telling you.
Yeah.
Like I have not watched the news since I don't know 2020 or something like that. When was all that stuff with COVID? I stopped watching the news then because I thought I don't need to know how many people have died. I genuinely that's someone else's job. That's not my job. Like I don't need to know. See, whatever I need to know, I'll find out. You know, for a red alert or whatever it is, someone will tell me. Like I don't need to be sitting there every day listening to this. It's just horrible. It's like someone's life just becomes a statistic, and oh God.
I think that's what it's become though. Like people's lives are just becoming statistics, and it's not even. I think we do as humans need to be aware of what's going on in the world, but the way the news does it now is just data and statistics and negativity, and it's actually really hurtful.
It's the same way. Like I really was like brainwashed by like climate change, and I was a vegetarian for years, and I don't mean brainwashed as in like it wasn't like a good cause, like because I genuinely believe all that is really important stuff, and you know I really believe in a lot of the things that we're being told, but I would be watching this stuff far too much and then just thinking the world's fucked, why are we doing this to animals, like and I would get so upset about it all the time, and I was like I just can't, like I can't. I'm like that again, that's someone else's job, someone's dealing with that. I need to trust that the people dealing with that know what they're doing because it's out of my control. Yeah. Unfortunately it is. And a lot of the things that we are really feeling negative about are, can you do anything about that? That's something I would say to myself, like, what can I do about this? Well, unfortunately,
we can't
no
fix
much.
everything.
No. Yeah.
You know, you can only fix what's in your control in your world, right? We're not superhuman.
And see, if you really think about it, there's negatives to everything. Like, you know, you could go down a whole rabbit hole of the clothes that you're wearing. Where did this sofa come from? The negatives about maybe even like us, like, I don't know, using technology. I don't know. Like, you can go down a rabbit hole with everything.
But I think people really take on, I mean, I've been so guilty of, we've both been guilty of it, taking on the weight of the world.
Aye, it's horrible.
And you can't do it. It's harmful. It's harmful to your mental health.
And that's, you need to, so for me, my biggest priority in my life is protecting my mental health. Yeah. And that is my priority. It doesn't mean it needs to be yours or yours listening. But for me, that is, which is why I'm fine by openly saying, I don't need to know what's going on in the world unless I'm told, because it's something really important or it's going to affect me. Yeah. And again, that's putting that trust into, that's someone else's job. That's not mine's. Like, and that's that kind of brings a bit of a peaceful mindset, I would say.
Yeah, it's protecting your energy.
Yeah. And for other people, they're the total opposite of that, and that's fine because they might be able to deal with that better. I just feel like I can't cope with things like that really well, so I just don't.
And that's something in the past couple of years that I've really, really took into my life. Yeah. Because I used to be very hyper aware of everything that was going on. Me too. And I've had to just cut it out. Yeah. Because
it's not good for you.
It's not good for your, what's that word? Energy hygiene.
Yeah. Yeah. And then things that are, so moving on. So we'll call that kind of step 4, like limiting negative exposure. Step 5 is bringing in more positive exposure. And by positive exposure, we do not mean positive vibes only, because that is a toxic phrase in itself.
So
okay.
toxic, yeah.
What actually you should do is try and be more optimistic, or try and actually reprogram your mind to look for the positives instead of the negatives. But obviously be aware that there will always be negatives and you're always going to feel like shit sometimes.
Yeah. I think it's trying to be glass half full.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Reframing things to be that way. It's not always going to happen though.
Yeah. Because we are like that.
Yeah.
I would say that I'm a positive person, air quotations.
We both are.
Yeah.
But we have days where it's fucking hard to do that.
I remember in work one day someone said to me, oh my God, I would love to be like you. You're just positive all the time. And I actually just turned around and was like, absolutely no, I'm not. I was like, don't say that. I was like, that to me is just like unrealistic. I said, so please, I'm sorry if I've ever gave you that impression that I'm positive all the time, but I was like, I'm really, really
People
not.
have said that to me.
I hate
And
when
I'm
people
like,
say that. Because I just know that I'm
like,
pure
it's
crap
not.
at sometimes. Like
Same.
sometimes I'm like just
You are.
I'm like, and people know that about me.
I love you.
I can be like quite moody
Yeah,
sometimes,
same.
and
Same.
like
100% same. Like I am a positive person.
yeah,
Like we are both positive people.
yeah.
But that does not mean we are positive 100% of the time.
Oh no,
You cannot live in a
either.
world where you are positive 100% of the time. That is not realistic
No.
in any way, shape, or form.
no.
And I think if you are, you're lying.
And remember, there's no such thing as a bad emotion as well. So like every emotion serves
Feel
us.
every emotion.
Anger serves you. Sadness serves you. Guilt, whatever. It all has a purpose. But the difference is we just don't want to be there too long. We don't want to spend too much time in one emotion. Equally, you don't want to spend too much time in the happiness emotion, because think about this. It happens after the holiday. If you're like me, you're buzz, and then after the holiday, you crash because you need that balance. So you're happy, and then you just have a wee couple of days where you're just feeling rubbish.
Yeah.
It always happens.
Always happens.
And that's just the balance of life. Like you hear that all the time, like balance. And that's something you see all over social media just now, like balanced life. And that is all that really means though. It's like, you're always going to get the good with the bad. You wouldn't actually know what bad was without good.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know what happiness was without sadness. Or I don't even think happiness is the opposite of sadness, is it? But I think it gets flung out there like it is.
Yeah.
But
we get it after events and stuff. Like you feel such a buzz, such a high. It's amazing. And I'll often get it like the next day and I just feel dead. You know what I mean?
That's that wee image that you see though, and it's like your cup has been drained. There's nothing left, and you need to fill it back up.
To fill it back up. I need to do my own energy.
Yes,
healing.
I think that's healthy though.
Yeah,
because if you're just giving out your energy all the time, which I've done in the past, I ended up crashing and burning. Like everybody kept warning me this would happen. I'm like, oh, it's not happened yet.
Not yet.
Months have went by and I'm still woohoo. And then actually I had that mega crash.
Huge crash.
And that's obviously going to happen.
I mean, it used to happen for me even when I was coaching.
Yeah.
It would be like competition days and I'd be like, this is great. I'm having a great time. And like, if it was successful, even better. Yeah. And then day after I'd be like, I feel like shit. Oh no.
But is that not like something that happens with people, like if they win a gold medal?
Oh yeah.
They get like this, like they're
so
underwhelmed.
When people come back from the Olympics,
yeah,
that's actually where sports psychologists come into play, because they get a real crash because it's just like they come home.
Yeah.
And that's when they get time off as well, so that they're not training, they're not in their normal routine.
Yep. And
everything just goes back to air quotations normal.
How often do you hear of that? People who just keep striving though for the next win.
Yeah.
And they're never fulfilled.
Never
like
fulfilled.
There's so much about that. And
I know him.
Yeah.
Boy, do I know him.
God, and I'm not a competitive person at all. I don't think there's one competitive bone in my body. And that's just naturally the way that I think I've always been. So I don't understand how people can be like that. But
well, people laugh at me because I used to be really competitive.
yeah.
I used to really strive for it, and now I've sort of had my awakening.
Yeah, no,
and
you're
it's just
like...
gone. I really just have no
just-
competitiveness in me at all. It's like I've just gone. But it's like if other people are doing well, then
then that's great.
Yeah, just lift everyone
cheer
up.
people on.
I'm just not competitive at all.
It's
Even
like,
at like a surface level, like if we're playing a game,
I'm like,
I'd be like, oh.
Is it the same as ambition though? Because I would say I'm ambitious.
Yeah.
And I would say that I'm
100%.
I like to strive that way. Maybe that's where my competitive element would come in.
Yeah.
But I mean,
really ambitious, but not competitive.
Yeah. I'd say it's with
Yeah.
myself. I'd be like, right, how can I improve on this? Or what can we change here? Like, so,
yeah.
And maybe that is an element of it, but it's more, that's it. I'm not looking at anyone else. I'm not comparing.
Yeah. No, never.
Whereas, like, that sort of competition you're talking about isn't it?
It's like looking at other people, how you can step up, step above.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
No, not at all. But then that in itself, so then if you're not like that, so I'm not like that, and in the past I would have been surrounded by people like that, which is obviously then why I felt like shit. So it goes back to that, recognise who you're around, recognise if you're taking on other people's beliefs that aren't yours, because if you are, that's just going to like poison your mind. Because deep down, that's not your values and that's not your beliefs. So back to the point of how we bring more positive, what's the word we used? Positive thinking into your life, or positive emotions, or positive feelings. We do that, I would say, for me, it's movement.
Yeah.
In any way. It could be walking, it could be the gym, yoga, mindfulness. Like, I like to be out in nature, I like to go out walking. I love a wee mindful walk, you know. That's a lovely wee exercise, actually. Get yourself out a wee walk, but no headphones, nothing.
Oh, the best.
And it's nice to be in like a nice scenic place, right? So for example, the canal, you know, you've got the water there, you've got loads of stuff going on with the animals and the plants, and just notice. Like notice what you can smell, notice what you can feel, maybe the wee breeze in your face. Notice like different plants that you've not noticed before. Like the different colours, the different textures.
All the different sounds.
Yeah, all the birds. Love it. That is one way you can quiet a loud mind. That's one of my favourite ones to do.
I love a mindful walk.
Me too. It's so, that's my most favourite. Every day, that's like a non-negotiable for me. I just like to get out, even if it's for 10 minutes, just myself, to be like, oh, nice.
I just do a wee bit of breath work on a walk
just
too.
Lovely.
Big deep breath.
Oh,
so good.
Filling them lungs up.
Like what your granddad used to do.
Yeah.
Get outside, fill the lungs.
Listen to your grandparents. Even if it's like
so good.
That then, another thing for that is gratitude, which we obviously spoke about in another episode, but there's reasons behind this, especially when it comes to like releasing endorphins, and gratitude obviously releases dopamine into your brain, which is something that does obviously make you feel better.
Yeah.
Obviously that dopamine can also get hijacked by things like social media and TikTok and whatever else, right? So this is, but gratitude and things like that, nature, are like real dopamine. Your phone and all that other stuff are like fake dopamine. It's like quick fix. You can never get enough of it. It's just boom, boom, boom. It's like dopamine on demand, isn't it? Yeah. It's just there. And if anything is like that, you know, like takeaways or anything's fast food, is never good for you. And look at it like that. So you want to get that real dopamine into your life.
Yeah. But that's another thing with TikTok and social media.
Yeah.
If you're noticing that negative thoughts are coming from things like that, limit your exposure to it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You have to be pretty real with yourself. Things like, for me, I think it was quite similar with you. I used to weigh myself every morning. I would always check my Fitbit. I was, you know, things like that. If that's something that's bringing you negative thoughts, chuck it. I had to chuck it.
No,
there were a lot of things I had to get rid of in my life and really remove them. Things from social media, I had to do big detox of people that I followed.
Yep.
And that helped get rid of the negative thoughts.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and it does take a lot of work to do that, and a lot of self-control.
Yeah.
But it's important.
It's so good though.
It's so good.
There's nothing better.
Once you do it, it does take a lot of self-control to do that and a lot of willpower to do that. But once you do it, you
just feel so good.
You feel free from doing it.
It's like you just said, like, so one of my things that we've spoke about this both of us a million times now, like really horrible negative thoughts about my body and how I looked. That was something that I struggled with. And I literally just did like things like that, like the Apple Watch, all the apps on my phone, the step counters. I just got rid of it all.
Fitness, like Pal, tracking calories, all that. I had to get rid of everything because it was like that was ruling my life. That was my daily routine, ruling my life. And think of how negative those thoughts would be in your mind. You also get a lot of like fake dopamine from these things as well. So, you know, you'll get like a celebration in your watch when you've hit 10,000 steps. Like when you really think about that, it's fucking mental. And I know a lot of people are going to be hating on us right now for saying this because this is something that I would say 99% of people do, who I know anyway, you know, in my circle. Same.
MyFitnessPal, tracking steps, tracking workouts. And again, until maybe like last year, I was doing it. Like, you know, how many calories have I burnt that workout? Absolutely. Like now I just think it's mental. But I was in that space for 30 years of my life. So, I mean, not 30, but you know what I mean? Up to 30 years old. Pure right out the womb with the Apple Watch. No, you know what I mean? Up to like 30 years old, like I was doing that. And I remember the moment of actually just deleting everything and saying, fuck this, I'm not doing this anymore. And that was a pure firm boundary, like, nope, we're not doing it. I felt free, mate. I feel like I'm now, woohoo. Like the way you should feel. I feel like maybe the way your granny and granddad would have felt when they were younger. Mate, it's so good. Oh, it's lovely. I used to go every single morning and stand on the scales. And I'd sleep. I would have that watch on my wrist 24 hours a day. Tracking my sleep, tracking my calories. Be pure rubbing on my fake tan off. I'd be like, oh, God. Track how many calories I'd burn in my sleep. No. Like, that's how obsessed I was. You're like, I need to survive. So naturally, obviously that's like, going to be happening. I would just, it was constant. And as soon as I got rid of that, it was hard for a couple of weeks because I was constantly thinking, oh my God, what? Because it's a habit of a lifetime. But then as soon as I really stepped into that, it was like, ooh, my life so is so normalized as well. I stopped tracking how many steps I did. Same. I'm just like, I feel like I just do loads of I just know when I've not done. I can enough. Feel now. Yeah. That's the thing. So now you can pure tune into yourself more. So I can feel when I need a walk or I need movement because we're like dogs. Yes, it's like that. Right. We're like, we need to move. We need to get out. Yeah. And we're humans. Like that's what you should feel. I was talking about this to one of my clients. We were talking about, you know, all this, like the technology and Whoop and all these other things that are coming out now, you know, it targets your heart rate and blah, 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 blah. We were like, humans have got by forever without all this shit. It's not that deep. Why are we so obsessed with it? I know. Everything. I feel like all of this stuff is just overcomplicated. It's deliberately designed to get you hooked. It's deliberately designed. They actually drive me mad. Oh, and you're just like, people are pure gonna hate on us. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. See if you're doing this and you're fine with it, go with it. But if it's bringing you bad vibes, then check in. Yeah, because I know some people are happy using that. Well, are they? I don't know. Again, you're gonna hate us. With the watches and everything. Even when I was training, we would have a heart rate monitor, like one of those pure the polar straps. Yeah. But we wouldn't be using it every day. Yeah. Wouldn't be using it for every session. Like, it would only be for big testing ones or big sessions. Do you know what I mean? No, I'm just laughing because are like every single session. They're using it for a walk. They're using it for just a wee 2K jog. And I'm like, I wouldn't use it for every single session. And I was like, why? Like, why would you need to? This is the thing, right? So see, unless you have a specific reason you need to do this, right? You've got a health condition and you've been advised.
Yeah.
For the everyday Joe like us, you don't need it. You don't need it because, or if you've got like a big goal. So I actually did have to track when I was training for the half marathon because you need to know what distance you've covered, right? Fair enough.
Yeah.
I had to do it for that period. Whereas now, if I'm going to go for a jog, I'll just go for a jog.
Yeah.
Why do I need to know?
I know. Just go.
Just enjoy your life, man.
Nice.
Like, walk if you want. Like, people are going to be like, no. But honestly, that's fine.
It makes it.
This is just
so
our
free though.
This is our take on it. Yeah, give it a go.
Give it a go.
We might be completely wrong, but all we are saying is this is our experience, and this is what has helped us feel good.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that we are right.
And actually, I will say, as someone who is an ex-athlete, you should be able to know what your heart rate is, know what zone you're in, without having your heart rate on and your watch on.
There we go.
People, I think, rely too much
on this technology,
especially if you're training for high rocks and all that. You're a pretty good athlete. You should be able to know what zone you're in without a watch on. Just saying, because I would be able to tell you what heart rate I'm
athletes.
Like, I'm not being funny, but you actually should be able to know.
Yeah,
just saying. I know my stuff.
Listen to the boss. She knows. She was professional.
Yeah. I went to uni for this stuff, by the way. I'm qualified.
Yeah, she's not just plucked this at a self-help book.
I do know my stuff.
Oh God, how did we even get here?
Oh God, who knows?
Who knows? But yeah, I think because that brought us a lot of negativity. I think that's why.
Did. Yeah, I will say with negative thoughts and how to stop negative thoughts, maybe sometimes just reframing that phrase in itself.
Yes, we spoke about this. Was it one of the last episodes we spoke about that because someone used the word rejection?
Yes.
And we're like, call it something else.
Call it something else. You know, how to bring more positivity in your life. Yeah. Maybe change it to that.
The words you speak, the language that you use.
It sticks.
Yes.
What's that phrase where it's like everything, what you think is what you are, like what you think is what you believe. Yeah, something like that.
But it is though. So the words you speak become your reality. And this is us getting more spiritual again, but we obviously have like energy within us. And if you're constantly using words like, so I try my best not to say the word hate because that is like, that's just a horrible word. And it's like such a low vibration and hate's always going to be negative. Yeah. So I try my best not to use that. And see, when I start to become aware of those kind of words, like, or even when you hear things like the cup is half empty, I don't say that. I would say the cup is half full. And it is like even changing simple things like that. An amazing book for this, I've mentioned it before, is The Magic. So
she loves it.
Love it.
Bringing it back up again.
And that really highlights that. Yeah. That was, so I would say that was my very first book that changed my life. 100%, right? Even I read The Secret and all that, brilliant, whatever. The Magic is where it happens. Why? You need to get into that because that does that. So it says every time a negative word pops up or something, change it, and it gives you all these wee challenges. I've mentioned it before. If you are really someone who's serious about this and you want to change it, do that book.
Yeah. There'll be some of my pals listening being like, oh, here she goes again, because every time someone says something slightly negative about themselves, I'm like,
oh, no, that's yes.
Gonna not do that. Because what you're saying is you're speaking that into reality. And you're just, and I know they're saying it as like a joke, but you're speaking it into reality. Yeah. You know, you just say, oh, such an idiot. Oh, and we're guilty of it too. But when I notice my friends doing it, I'm like, no.
It's good to have someone call you out in that. Yeah. And because we both do that, just like, why are you saying that? But
don't do it, girl.
So even that, like slagging yourself and it's just a wee laugh. It's no, because your brain absorbs that. Your brain is a sponge and whatever you're saying, whatever you're consuming, whatever you're reading, that's exactly what your brain is going to, that's how your brain perceives reality. Yeah. That's what's going to pick up. That's what's going to come out. That's how you're going to show up.
Yeah. And I'll say it often to a couple of my friends who've been pregnant as well. They'll always use like, oh, baby brain and that. And I'm like, no,
You're like,
stop. Just don't use that, isn't it? Just be yourself.
it's like, you couldn't be any more amazing right
Yeah.
now. You're like,
Just
growing a
quit
child
it.
within you.
Just quit
Yes.
it. You're being negative about yourself by
Yeah.
saying, baby, shush. Shush.
We were in the car yesterday, and William is one of these moany drivers, and I think lots of people are like that. They just pick up on everything. And I'm the most chill driver you'll ever meet. Genuinely. Never get road rage. But the reason that I'm like that, so I said this to him yesterday because everything was a fucking moan, and I was like, gonna you wrap it? I was like, behave yourself. I was like, you sound like a grumpy old troll. I was like, stop.
Grumpy old troll.
Like, I actually did. Like, it's just awful. Everything. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Really?
And I was like, stop. I mean, you actually don't know. The person in front of you, maybe their mum's just died and they're sitting there in a wee world of their own. That might be a wee old person who's really nervous now on the road. That person there might be a
new driver.
Yep. They could have a wee baby in the car. They could have, like, so Marley's obviously got things with her spine that's not, but she's obviously had issues with her spine. So when I've got her in the car, I drive really carefully because I was like,
that was me with Winnie.
Be aware of that. I was like, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So he actually was like, but people are just listening. And I was like,
no, William.
I was like, this sounds like it's you. You need to behave.
I'm pure like that when I drive as well. It's just like, oh,
what's the big deal?
You know, that's just it with everything in life. You never know what someone else is going through. So it's like, just what you can only control what's going on in your own space.
In your own wee bubble, that's it. But I think you could apply that.
In the car, if other people are giving you road rage, I just am like, kill them with kindness. I smile.
Like that.
I'm like, hello.
Hi.
Or sometimes, you know what I do is I just do a wee thumbs down. Like, oh, don't do that.
Oh no.
And they're like,
sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Or I just say sorry.
Yeah. I'm the same. I would just be like that.
Do anything.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh.
So, like, no. I've seen some, maniacs.
Just, what's the point?
Oh.
Just move on. Like, move on with your life.
Apply that to anything in life. I just always think you don't know what someone's going through. And that's a sentence that I'd say to myself all the time. I see if I feel myself starting to get pissed off with someone or someone in the streets behaving in a unacceptable way, I'll be like, I have no idea what they're going through.
I've had it before, like when I've driven home from a hospital appointment or I've been walking home from a hospital appointment, and I've gone into a cafe or something, I've just been pure away with it or really emotional or, and I've,
of course,
you're on autopilot driving home.
Yeah.
And people have beeped me or, I've driven slow or just like not,
no, that's it. You're not with it.
And it's just like, some people are doing that too because I've just had a really shit appointment where I've been told some really shit news.
Yeah.
So people will be going through that too.
Oh,
just give people
every
grace.
Day, like someone, it could be anything. And again, we've all been on we've all experienced that. I remember when I was going through something and I was away for a hill, because,
love it.
Good for the old mind. Anytime so I parked at Ben Ann car park and there was no spaces in the car park. So I just parked at like the side beside these trees.
Yeah.
Obviously not thinking. Went up the hill, came back down, and there was this woman raging in the car park, being like, "Is that your car?" And I was like, "Oh, aye, is everything all right?" I've been down here for 10 minutes and I can't get out of that space. And I was like, "Oh shit, sorry, I didn't even realise." I was like, to be fair, she actually could have got the space. She obviously would have had to manoeuvre a bit, but she was so horrible to me. Like, she was like shouting at me. She was screaming like, "Fucking idiot, you fucking this." And I was just like, wow, how could you ever speak to someone like that? And at that point, I genuinely was going through a lot. I just felt horrible and I just stared at her and I was just like, I'm moving the car. I was like, it's fine. And even when I was moving and she was driving away, she's like pointing at me, shouting. I remember just sitting there thinking, how horrible. Like, what the fuck? So, and that's it. I think when you've experienced that as well, you'll be like, I would never do that to someone.
Just let it go.
I remember when I first started driving as well. I've got trauma. So,
really?
18, picked up my wee Ford Ka right?
Oh, why?
The wee old ones that look like the ladybugs.
Oh, heavy cute.
So there I was, like, 18 years old, full of business.
Yes.
And there was this car in front of me going like so slow.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, right, I know I can do 30 mile an hour on this road. That car was at like 20 and I was right up its arse beeping, mate. And I went round them to overtake them. And it was this wee old couple. Oh, God.
Paula hen.
Oh, I can still see it now. He looked like the wee man from up. He had his wee bonnet on and his wee wife was beside him. And I was
Paula
like,
hen.
I'm a cow. I cried after that. I was like, why have I done that?
Why did
I
you do
felt
that? Yeah.
terrible. And the person in the car
regret.
beside me was like, oh no. And it was just, it was terrible. So again, I think that's why now obviously I'm like cam driver vibes as well.
Let it go.
Like that traumatized me. I can still see their wee faces.
Oh God.
Oh God. So guys, even think about that. You might become a better driver if you challenge on negative thinking.
Challenge the negative thoughts. Oh God. I know a few of them.
Like literally, I think you do show up better in every area of life, don't you? You really, really do. So we hope some of this has been helpful.
Yeah.
I imagine that if you're listening to this and it's something that you are going through, like that negative thinking, overthinking, go away and try like the points we've said, go and try. We'll give you 5 sort of things you can go and do, work on. They all kind of tie into each other. And hopefully it does help because it really did help us. Our experience is it helped us to get to where we are now. Like 100%.
I think it, and again, you can get really deep with it.
Yeah.
You can get really, really deep with it.
Which we now have done.
Which we love. Obviously, we're the gals that just love getting really deep and heavy into it. But do recognise that can be quite hard and overwhelming.
Yeah, especially if you're just starting off.
Yeah, you can just start pretty light and easy and then slowly
you'll end up getting
into
hooked.
it, lassies.
You'll start to get hooked when you notice the benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened with us. Obviously, we were like, right, fuck it, we need to try something.
Yeah.
Still feeling terrible, still in a really negative
headspace.
Now. And now look at us.
We were hooked.
I think the most important thing for me is, so I suppose this is kind of a wise word, but it's not really like a quote or anything, right? Fuck. What was I going to say? Jesus Christ almighty.
That's so good. Oh, hen.
That was really wise of me.
Has it gone?
Mate.
Is it literally gone?
Right. Oh, okay. Right. Let's try that again. So, I can't stop laughing now. Right.
Go.
Okay. Here we go. Pull yourself together, Paula. So, what learning to control negative thinking and overthinking, when you learn that, what that actually does is it means that the next time you face a challenge or you face some trauma or you face a difficult time, you will get out of that quicker. Or maybe let's not put time on it actually, right? Let me take that back. Not quicker. You'll deal with it better. Yeah. So you won't feel as bad. You won't hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
That's been my experience of it anyway so far. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be fact for my whole life. I'd like to think that it has, but it's more, we'll find that when something shit comes up again, you can deal with it 1 million times better. Oh, because 100%. There's a point in my life where anything could have happened. And I just never had the tools to deal with it. So whatever it was that happened, I would have just been like, oh, fuck. Like, here we go, rock bottom. Yeah.
It'd be like, I'd be scattered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pure
so
scattered.
Think of it like that. It will be useful at some point in your life.
Aye.
Oh, we've got a poem from our lovely poet.
Wait, just because we were talking about feeling every emotion.
We have our lovely poet, Nelia Pallet, with a poem.
Life isn't about feeling happy in every moment. Life is about balance. It's about good times as well as hard times. It's about anticipation and excitement, but the fear and worries too. Life is about the whole spectrum of emotions. Don't beat yourself up trying to feel happy in every moment. That isn't what life is all about. Feel every emotion, live life, live every feeling. Live in the moment, whether you're joyful, sad, angry, or blissfully happy. It may not feel like a perfect life all the time, but it's a life of adventure, of experience, of everyday moments, of love, just as it should be.
Oh, love it. Thank you, as always.
You're welcome, Hen.
Oh, that's got every lesson tied into that, you know. Feel the feels, be present, try not to be in the past or the future.
Be present. Like
Stunning.
That is how you need to live.
Simple advice.
Just live in the moment, gals.
And I think that's a wee episode idea, isn't it?
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for listening. And we do hope that you take some value from this and obviously some inspo.
Yeah. And as always, we're always here to talk.
Yes.
If you need some extra advice or just want
Our
someone to chat
inbox is
to.
open.
Always.
Yeah. So thanks if you're still listening, and we will speak at the next episode.
Oh, I love you.
Love yous.